in the house, and Katie Mellon. So everyone watching online, welcome. What's up? We are so happy that you're here. And just for everyone, we are in our relationship series right now. So we're gonna do a little interview today. And so I'm just gonna get to it. Everybody just say get to it. All right, fine, I will. Let me pull up my questions. Give me a second. Okay, so I'm gonna start with you, Katie. Okay. Get ready. Tell us about a time in your life where you learned through a relationship, and how did that affect and change you?
I would say that a few years ago I definitely learned my worth and what I should, I guess, want out of a partner. And I learned that by getting to know myself better and just really figuring out how God would want me to be treated.
That's really
and that
good.
really set the standards for future relationships.
That's really good. Love that. How about you, Mark?
I would say I don't really have a specific instance, but I feel like over the last year I have definitely changed a lot and learned as a person in my general self. I've learned a lot about what it means to have companionship, or how to care for someone, how to resolve problems as a team, how to be dedicated to a person. Another important thing that I've learned from a relationship is how to be selfless, how to think outside yourself, how to think of another person first, and how to see through another person versus just through yourself.
That's some good stuff. Somebody
That's
say
good.
yeah in the house. Somebody say yeah in the comments. We'll see it at some point. So I'm going to go ahead and go with another question. Those are really great. I especially love the selfless thing, for sure. Mm-hmm. Describe love in your own words. Let's start with you again.
I would say that love is respect. It's trusting, effort, listening, and just communication.
That's big, for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How about you?
I think one of the most important things about a relationship love is that it's not that you love this thing about them, it's that you love them unconditionally, not based on a single thing. Because if you love as a whole, then if something changes in that person, you won't stop loving them because it wasn't tied to a certain thing. Yeah. In a relationship, you picked them, and to say you love them means just that you pick them, you knowingly chose to love them, and you don't put conditions on that love. Something important is that it's not, you can't say I love you because so-and-so, I love you because you make me happy, or this or that, because as years go by, maybe they go through seasons of depression and they're not giving as much as you're giving to them, and they're on the receiving end for a long time maybe. So if you had your love based on they're making me happy all the time, then that would fade, but you should love unconditionally. It's giving without the expectation to take back. You will get something back, but you're not expecting it. You're just giving freely, not as an exchange. In my relationship, from a biblical standpoint, there's kind of this mantra of trying to have the love that's described in 1 Corinthians 13. Yeah. Love is selfless, it's not arrogant, you're not thinking you're better than them or anything like that, you're humble. And another important one, especially in a relationship, is love does not keep record of wrongs.
Yes.
So in a relationship, you're going to be better if you're both good forgivers versus holding grudges. You have to be a good forgiver in a relationship.
Totally. All really good. Did you have something else to say? Sorry, I don't know if I cut you off.
No.
Okay. I especially love when you talked about how you can't just be with someone because they make you happy, because like you said, you're going to go through so many seasons in life, and you need someone who is willing to take on the pressure for you, but at the same time, you are also going to do that for them when they're down. That's really just so big with relationships. Is that person going to help you when you're down, and are you going to help them when you're down too? So I love that. It's really good.
Yeah.
My next question is, in your opinion, what does a healthy relationship consist of?
So I think that love is only part of a relationship, because you can love someone until you're blue in the face, and it doesn't always mean that it's going to work out. It doesn't always mean that it's going to be a healthy relationship. But the other part of a healthy relationship would be the trusting, the respecting each other, having the same values, and just truly caring for each other and growing your relationship with God and making each other better.
Yeah, it's really good.
In my opinion, important things are listening. So when they're telling you something, you're not having your own internal monologue drown them out.
Waiting to talk.
you're actually receiving what they're saying fully. Another thing is you're not always going to have the situations as someone else. A lot of the times they're going to be going through something that you don't understand or relate to, but you need to still be there for them through that and not like say, I don't get it, so I'm not going to try as much. Yeah. Another thing is in the relationship, you need to stay your own person. That's especially important when you're apart and when you're together. Like say you don't see them for a while, you need to keep moving in your own life and be yourself. And then also with them, you can't just talk to them, you need to still be yourself and who you are. Yeah. Another thing is that it's good to have the same vision for what the relationship looks like in the short term and the long term. You can't have different ideas of what the relationship means. You need to be in the same relationship as that person, like same understanding of that. And something else is it's important to be comfortable in that relationship and not be paranoid that you're going to drift away or anything like that. But with that, to still never be complacent, like still fight to have a really good relationship and still try to fix problems before they come up and work through them. Something I've noticed is that hard conversations now will lead to a much smoother time for you later because it won't be a fight, it'll just have been a talk earlier.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That last one is huge. Like, just the clear air thing. If you have a problem with someone, literally, just talk to them about it. People can't read your mind, and so especially when you're in a relationship, we talked about last week how communication is so important. So I love that you touched on that. That's really good. Both of y'all are just up here killing it. Like, yeah, that's what's up. My next question is, what are some red flags when you start talking to someone?
One red flag that you can see immediately is if someone is very controlling. Like they have a my way or the highway mentality and you can't get through to them and they're not going to compromise. It's not a good mentality to have when you're in a relationship because there's two people in it and you need to work together to solve problems, not just try to stick to your guns or have someone else who sticks to their gun. Another thing is if you can't act yourself around them, if you're acting for them because you think
that's a big one.
You think they'll like you more if you're someone that you're not, that's not going to work over the long term because it just won't. You can't act forever. Another
facts.
thing.
He's spitting facts right now, y'all. Come on.
And then.
Thank you for the 3 claps.
Just as.
That was amazing. Good job. Where are the clappy things? Hey, there you go. I hope online can hear that, but I don't know. I don't know if you can.
Another thing that's important is not just red flags in them. You need to see red flags in you. You can't. When you go into the relationship, you need to make sure you're in it for the right reason. You're not trying to rebound to fill a void of someone who just left you or any loss in your life. It's not because you want the status symbol or all your friends have a girlfriend or they all have a partner and you don't and you want to look good or anything like that. And you need to be with them not just as like a body or anything, but as a person. Because if you don't have the right attitude, then that's a red flag too. Because you don't want to be the person. That's the problem. Like you always try to stop, not get with someone else who you see a red flag in, but you don't want to be that person either. So you need to check yourself.
Totally. Basically, he's saying check yourself before you wreck yourself and your relationship. Love it. How about you, Katie?
So I look for a couple of things when I first start talking to someone. First thing, I look for how they treat strangers.
Ooh, yeah, how they treat waiters is a big one.
Yeah. And I'm a waitress, so that's really...
That's high on the list.
I also look for how they talk to their parents, treat their parents, and their mothers in particular.
Michelle said, yeah, she's got kids for sure. We love you. Sorry, I keep interrupting y'all, but it's just, it happens. I don't know.
And then I would say that I look for how they talk about their exes.
Oh, yes, very true.
I think that you can definitely tell, more about someone's character with how they talk about their exes.
Yeah, like basically how you leave someone basically sums up like,
Yeah.
how the relationship was and kind of who you are as a person. Like, are you able to still talk kindly in a way that doesn't totally rip them to shreds? I mean, I get it to a certain point, someone really messed with you, but your whole life can't now be, oh, they did this to me and so now they suck and everything sucks. Like you want to hear about that too.
Right.
So I get that for sure.
And then how are they going to talk about you if things don't work out too?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Got you. All right. So how does mental health tie into relationships? Mark, you can go first if you want.
All right. I think it definitely does tie in. A good relationship can help bring some balance and help you work through a season of bad mental health. Yeah. I think when I was struggling, especially at the beginning of this year, when I had so many things floating around my head, the best advice I got that's brought me out of that and just given me tools came from my partner. And it was as simple as just use a planner for everything, because I would have 30 things floating around my head, and then I would shut down because it was overwhelming, and then they really wouldn't get done, and it'd pile up, and it was kind of a cycle. Definitely. Driving down. And they can be that person when you just need someone to talk to, or you need a hug, or you need to just be happy for a bit and forget all your problems for a little while. Something important to note is that it's not their job to make you happy. They don't have a responsibility or a need to do that, and neither do you. It's not your job to make them happy. They can only do that themselves. Yeah. But it's still important that you're there for each other as support and as a tool to move through seasons of trouble with mental health.
That's really good. Love that.
What was the question?
No, you're good. What does mental health how does mental health tie into relationships?
I would say that so you hear all the time, you can't have a relationship until you are whole as a person. And it's true, it really is true. For example, if you leave a relationship and you are broken, you have trust issues, you can't start a new relationship and expect that those old trust issues are not going to infect your new one. So I think that you really need to fix yourself in here, and then you'll be able to pour out life into someone else.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you have had a bad breakup and you're carrying new baggage that you haven't sat with and thought about and worked through, for sure, I think that can be very unhealthy, bringing it into a relationship. But I do just want to make sure you guys know, if you do struggle mentally with things or have anxiety or depression, that doesn't cross you off from being able to date, to be in a relationship. It's more just, are you able to be yourself? Are they going to help you with it, or are they going to hinder you? And you kind of know, as a person, okay, am I mentally stable enough to start a relationship? You know what I mean? And it kind of go off of ask your parents' advice, ask one of your leaders, ask your friends. And I just want you to know, I don't know, have you guys heard the song Grow As We Go who's it by, Leah? Who is it? Ben Platt, yeah. Who hurt him, by the way? That guy, if you watch that music video, he's barely holding it together. It's so sad. But I love that song. It actually reminds me of Leah and John. And it basically talks about how you can grow as you go. You can grow as a person individually, you can grow in a relationship, and you can get better together. And I do know, there's some people that it would be better for you to be single for a while and figure your crap out. That's cool. But also there's people that it's good to grow as you go with someone. And so I just wanted to, if you don't know that song, just look it up after this. It's pretty good. But yeah, I love both of those answers. Really great. Okay, so this one, I'm just going to ask Katie, when do you know you need to end a relationship?
So in the movies, it paints the picture where, a couple, and they're having some issues for 2 days, and then they decide to work things out, and then all of a sudden, they kiss, the scene fades away, the movie ends, and that's fine.
The sun sets, it's beautiful.
Exactly.
There's a unicorn, it's magic. Jazz music plays. Sorry, I'm just seeing it all in my head. It's happening. Continue.
But we know that that's not how it works. I mean, we know that. So
has that happened to anyone in the room? All right, so we know that. Okay.
So, I mean, for me personally, I've been in relationships where we've broken up 3 times, we get back together 3 times, and by the end of it, there's nothing healthy that's left in the relationship. Like, you've tried and you've tried, there's nothing left. And that's okay. Like, it's okay to give up. I know in the movies they don't give up a lot of times, but, and if you're giving more out of a relationship than you're getting, it's time to reconsider, I'd say, for a long period of time.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to trusting your gut with stuff like that. Another sign would be if all of your friends kind of hate them, if your family doesn't really like them, if they're starting drama, stuff like that. I think it kind of comes to the point where if you have to question, like, oh, I don't know if this is good, then that's kind of your sign. And I'm not saying you can't work through issues. You totally can, and you should try if the relationship is good. But with stuff like that, with bigger things, it's easier to know, like, okay, I don't think this is going to work. So,
right.
Yeah, for sure. If you could give the younger you advice on dating, what would you tell yourself? You can go ahead, Katie.
I would say not to give out love just to anyone. And I would say that if you're in a relationship and, the other person's doing some things that are questionable, or, you're getting jealous all of a sudden, or, things like that, ask yourself, like, would God be happy that I'm in this relationship? Is this how Jesus would treat me? And yeah, I mean, that's kind of just a standard, I'd say.
Gotcha. Did you have anything to add, Mark?
Yeah, I think my advice would be, as you approach a relationship, to seek out wisdom on whether the relationship is a good idea before you go into it. So talking to people you trust, maybe an older sibling, maybe your parents, and then ultimately finding out what God wants for you, seeing if this relationship is His will, and figuring out that first before going into it.
Yeah, you got to cheer for that one. That's good.
I want to add on to that.
Yeah, okay. I would say, honestly, we talked about it a little bit before, but if I could go back to high school, I would be unapologetically myself. I was always so worried about what people thought of me. I'd walk into a room and think that everyone's thinking about me. They weren't, they weren't. And I just would be myself and allow being myself to be the people that were around me. You know what I mean? I wouldn't try to seek out the cool person or whatever. And I just think once you know what you want and what you like, it's so much easier to find the people that you're meant to be around, and the people that will help you grow and will love you. And especially if you're solid in your relationship with God as well, you're gonna gravitate towards people that believe that too, and so that's gonna be really great as well. I think we just have one more question. How do you maintain self while dating? So basically, how do you stay you while dating?
So I set out time for myself. I'm a very alone type of person too. So, but I take out time for myself, and I really think about. I kind of do like a checklist. Like, am I happy? Am I still enjoying the things that I used to like doing that were healthy? Am I growing? How is my relationship with God doing? And yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. I like the checklist
Yeah.
idea. That's cool. Very organized.
Thanks.
I think to maintain yourself, there's a lot of tools you can use. And firstly, this is very important, is to still hang out with your friends.
Yes.
Don't trade the time you have with them for the time you have with your partner. Balance it out. Spend time with both. Like, steward your time well, sharing it between people you want to spend time with, and don't neglect the people you spent time with before you got into the relationship.
That's huge, for sure.
Because they're a part of you, like who you are is your group of people that you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Also, just taking a night where you both like say, okay, this is going to be the night I eat dinner with my family myself, or we both will, and not having to think it's weird to just be at your house alone during your free time, both of you, when you could be together, because that's just investing in keeping your relationships that you had before with your family and keeping that same dynamic as much as you can, because that's going to help you stay the person you were before the relationship. Also, just taking the times you're apart, like weekend trips or vacations. Obviously, you don't do that much, but taking those times as like family time or you time, not worrying about talking to them all the time, not being that couple that instead of is hanging out with the family during vacation, they're in their room like FaceTiming or something like that. Being apart is important, but it's important because it means you're still you, you know?
Yeah.
If you're able to just be apart and be yourself, that means you're succeeding and staying yourself in that relationship. And this is very simple, but check in your relationship. Can you just text them, hey, I'm going to go do this for a couple hours. I'll talk to you after. And that's fine. That doesn't have to be a worry. You can still be yourself. Just let them know, be respectful. And is that a problem or not? And if it is, then maybe you should work on trying to be yourself and be able to just do that. And the most important one, I think, is to keep yourself plugged into everything you were before the relationship. So don't stop working out like you used to, or practicing if you do sports or music. Don't back out of those things because you feel like they're going to be mad at me if I don't spend time with them. Keep your pastimes and your habits and your hobbies.
Yeah. Dang, that's all so good, y'all. I love it. So much wisdom up here on this stage, and I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about them. I love it. So that's all the questions I have for you guys. You guys have been amazing. Love it. And so at this time, we're going to break out into our small groups, and we're just going to go through a few questions, just have a discussion, and then at the end, we'll just hang out and have fun like we normally do. So go ahead and break out into your groups, and if you're watching online, peace and blessings. We love you. Thanks for watching.